Garda Show, 8 to 10 a.m. And you're listening to Salam Media.
Right, let's talk. Let's do some champion spotting. So you know that as part of what I do, besides hosting a show in Ramadan for Salam Media, is I drive a project called Champion South Africa. It means we look at we have a goal to build a champion nation. It means highlighting, looking for where we want to build or find the champions in the community, and then or build the champions that are needed to build a champion nation. Now, part of what we do sometimes is we reflect on champions who are not with us any longer, and that's the case with Kathrada, of course, who's passed away a good few years ago. But yesterday, as I think is the norm, there was a commemoration at the cemetery, driven by the Ahmed Kathrada Foundation, understandably so. So let's find out more about what happened, and then touch on some of the aspects, some of the champion-like aspects of the man that we can implement not just in Ramadan but even outside of Ramadan, as South Africans in the greater South African life. With me, the director of the Ahmed Kathrada Foundation, Nishan Bolton. Nishan, appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning. Thanks, Ashraf, and greetings to your viewers.
Thank you. Let's talk about, firstly, what happened yesterday and why.
Yesterday was the 6th anniversary of Uncle Kathy's passing. And as we normally do, since his death 6 years ago, we host some kind of commemorative event. The previous year, we were at Constitutional Hill, at the site that was going to become the place for his permanent exhibition, and that was opened in August of last year. This year, we hosted a gathering at the gravesite, bringing together young and old to reflect on a country in crisis and lessons from the life of Uncle Kathy that might have elements of a solution to how to get out of this. But it was a gathering that had tributes from various foundations that he and the foundation are associated with: the Nelson Mandela Foundation, the Sophie and Henry de Bruyn Foundation, and the Andrew and June Mlangeni Foundation. We had some comments from the Congress of Business and Economics, and a panel of people who work at the foundation primarily spoke about their areas of work, how it has been influenced by Uncle Kathy and his values, and how they take forward that kind of work today. Ismail Vadi delivered a response to all of that, linking the work of the United Democratic Front, whose 40th anniversary comes up this year, and what the connections between what they had done 40 years ago and what needs possibly to be done today. The closure was by Catherine Constantinides on behalf of the board of the foundation. But overall, it brought together the diversity of people that would have made Uncle Kathy proud, young and old, across race, across religion, which was really part of his whole notion of a non-racial South Africa.
Yeah, so much. Well, I'll tell you what, we could check about that alone, I would think, for about 2 hours. Now, the problem that you and I have is we've got 5 minutes to look at some of the key points, but perhaps maybe that reflects where we are as a country, that time is running out, right, in terms of where we were in 1990 or 94 and where we are now. So what are the key points that, perhaps maybe 5 key points that emerge, if you can share with us, and link that very quickly to the legacy of Ahmed Kathrada, or Uncle Kathy, keeping in mind we want to look at the champion qualities that he possessed that we can apply in our own lives and in our country.
Well, the first and foremost is that recognizing that it's a crisis, and it's a crisis that affects the vast majority of people, and therefore a crisis requires leadership that is not party-based or ideologically based. The ability to work with whoever has workable answers to the crisis is important for that kind of leadership. And in that context, not to see the opposition, particularly politically, as your enemy, but is to find the points of collaboration. And that, I think, was the primary issue that came out from all of the contributions. From the foundations was the strong values that would around which you build unity, its integrity, its non-racialism, and it's about putting the interests of people before that of party, of any political party, in finding the solutions that the country needs. And I think lastly is a sense of unity that must prevail outside, with those outside of political parties, in finding solutions at a street level, at a community level, and then using that unity to force accountability on those who are in political power and who must provide the solutions to the various crisis issues that we face in South Africa today.
Well, so much comes out of that. I mean, I certainly have made the point myself on various platforms that what disturbs me about South Africa, whether it's the ruling party, whether it's that's the ANC, whether it's the DA, the EFF, Action SA, and I can run through all of them. There's a sense that they're all there just for themselves, and it's how do we get your vote and your attention to give us the vote? And very little is about South Africa. First, in a sense that they are ready to ridicule one another all the time, as if we're watching, a game of fun and games, as opposed to seeing the building of the country. Now, the points you made, right? I think 4 or 5 really salient points. Would you say all those points, in many ways, are not just reflecting the state of the country, but they reflect the persona and the characters and the characteristics of Uncle Kathy himself? That means he epitomized all of those things.
Very much so. Let me just give you one simple example. In prison, you had a member of the Liberal Party, Eddie Daniels, who many of the ANC and others did not want to embrace. Uncle Kathy, Madiba, Walter Sisulu, and others befriended Eddie to the point where, in the end, Eddie became a staunch supporter of theirs, as well as a card-carrying member of the ANC when he left thereafter. But that would not have been their intention. So through the art of persuasion, through the art of finding common ground, they were able to embrace Eddie, and Eddie was able to embrace them. I think likewise, when Uncle Kathy came out, he embraced the ideas of negotiations. He embraced the idea of a government of national unity, and to the point where he could acknowledge the contributions of somebody like de Klerk, whilst condemning his role that he had played in propping up apartheid. And that kind of sense of balance, I think, is what is missing in politics today and in the quality of leadership.
Absolutely. So therefore, going forward, right? I mean, the obvious challenge for you and I and everybody else, even yesterday, is like, how can we find more Uncle Kathys? And that's the difficulty, right? So did that come through, in the conversations to say this is what needs to be done, but for this to happen, we need to, copy and paste, duplicate, multiply far more Uncle Kathys than what we have right now.
That work is happening in localities across the country. You're finding people coming together or discarding differences when they all have to drive over potholes that affect their lives. And they're beginning to find that it's easier coming together to fix the potholes rather than just avoiding it and driving past it. So the issues of commonality are there. I think local leaders are finding it. We saw it in the response to not only the July insurrection, but in this latest attempt to force the country to shut down. I think where we're not finding it is the connecting points between these localities and, for example, the cities. So the city is collapsing. People are fixing it up all over the place. What is not in place is them being able to come together to use that sense of unity to bring about accountability of the city, and obviously from there scaling it up at a national level. But I think that those are emerging very slowly though. But that work is certainly underway across the length and breadth of South Africa.
And I mean, lastly, you head up a foundation in the name of Ahmed Kathrada. I mean, what a privilege, and you've done that for quite a while. I know that, right? That meant that you've had to work very closely with him all these years, and even before the launch of the foundation. Now this feature is champion spotting, so we try and spot champions. What's the, just as a last shot here? What's the one champion-like quality that you saw emerge as a thread from Uncle Kathy all through the years that you'd like to repeat right now?
It's the ability to serve without an expectation of reward. That marked his life before, during, and after prison, was a sense of service, but without a complete expectation of reward, to a point where he would have given up his life in the Rivonia trial for what he thought would have been in the interest of the country. And it is that for me sticks out more than anything else at this point in time.
And maybe that's the best way to end it. So I'm looking at you and I placing an advert to say wanted. Someone who is prepared to emulate Uncle Kathy in terms of having the ability to serve without any expectation for reward. If that's you, apply within. Nishan Baltum, thanks for your time. Most appreciated.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
We absolutely need that. There you are, some fascinating champion spotting in the life of Ahmed Kathrada. 6 years now. Inshallah, may Allah grant him Jannah for a life of service to community, to country, and even beyond that. We're going to end with a conversation. We should have been chatting to one of the previous guests around Bilal Abdul Karim. We've had a battle just connecting with him. I think he's in Syria, so probably maybe do it some other time. But we're going to chat in that feature about Know Your Imams, or the Imams of the country. We'll chat to Imam Zakaria Siddiq to prayer right after this.